There are seasons in a man's life when everything appears lost, when failure seems final and every voice whispers that it's over. I know this season intimately. It was the season my brother Richard sat across from me in the very office our father had built, sliding a termination letter across the mahogany desk with a smirk that still haunts my nightmares. "The company can't afford dead weight, Marcus," he said, his words dripping with the condescension he'd perfected since childhood. Especially not sentimental dead weight. That was 5 years ago today. It's 5 years since he stole the company. Our father spent 30 years building, since he convinced the board that I was the liability, since he left me with nothing but a shattered reputation and a mountain of debt. But I tell you, it is in this darkness that destiny begins its work. You are not at the end. You are at the turning point. There is a law that governs all of life. Nothing is ever destroyed. It is merely prepared for transformation. The soil must break before the seed can grow. The man must fall before he can rise. And right now, life is breaking you open only so that it can rebuild you stronger. You have been measured, tested, and stretched to your limit. But you have not been defeated. The pain you feel is not punishment. It is instruction. Every disappointment, every closed door, every sleepless night has been chiseling you into the kind of man who cannot be broken again. When the world turned its back, when you were left alone with your doubt, a new voice was born inside you. A voice that said, "Not yet." That voice is the sound of your comeback. The world does not yet see it, but the tide has already begun to turn in your favor. I want you to understand something powerful. Every man who ever rose to greatness, Ford, Edison, Carnegie, met the same moment you face right now. A moment when the world said quit and their soul said rise. This is that moment for you. You do not need permission. You do not need applause. You need only a decision to stand up again. For a single thought of defiance held with faith is stronger than 1,000 regrets. Your future is not waiting for better conditions. It is waiting for a better command. It's the same force that carried you through your darkest night now gathers strength behind you. Every setback has become a springboard. Every wound a weapon. Every delay a hidden preparation. The time you thought was wasted was the training ground for the life you asked for. Listen carefully. Your comeback will not announce itself with fanfare. It will arrive quietly through your persistence, through your refusal to give up, through the fire that now burns in your eyes. And when it comes, the world will not believe how quickly you rose because they never saw how deeply you prepared. You are about to witness what happens when a man refuses to stay fallen. You are about to prove that faith, when mixed with decision and desire, can rebuild anything. This is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your return. Your greatest chapter begins now. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted, you've ever been underestimated and written off, if you've ever dreamed of serving justice to someone who wronged you, hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready for one of the most satisfying revenge stories you'll hear today. This is the story of how I lost everything and then built an empire from the ashes. It's not just for wealth, but for the sweet, sweet satisfaction of watching those who wronged me fall. Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll understand why revenge, when served cold and calculated, can be the most motivating force in the universe. So grab your popcorn, settle in, and let me take you back to where it all began. There are seasons in every life when all that once felt certain dissolves into question. When the plans that promised reward collapse and the road that seems straight vanishes into fog, it is in such moments that most men believe they are finished. But the truth, the eternal truth is this: nothing in life is ever destroyed. It is only being rearranged for your advancement. When a storm tears through the forest, it does not kill the soil, it nourishes it. When fire consumes the mountain, it clears the way for richer growth. And when failure comes to a man, it burns away the weakness that would have ruined him at the summit. Every breakdown is the unseen hand of destiny, reshaping you for greater things. This is the law of rhythm. The tide recedes only to return. The seed must be buried in darkness before it rises toward light. Every defeat is a cycle in motion, an ebb before the flow, a rest before the rise. The wise man does not curse his low seasons. He studies them. He asks not, "Why am I here?" but rather, "What law is working through me now?" The truth is that every great life turns at the point of apparent ruin. Henry Ford faced bankruptcy 5 times before building the motor that moved the world. Edison failed 10,000 times before the first light burned steadily. Lincoln was defeated in election after election before the people saw in him the calm, resolute faith of leadership. These men were not chosen because they never fell. They were chosen because they refused to stay fallen. If you have known failure, if you have been stripped of pride, misunderstood, or left behind, count yourself fortunate. For life has deemed you worthy of refinement. You are being trained for strength, not comfort. A man who has not suffered has not yet been tested, and a man untested cannot yet be trusted with greatness. In these moments of breaking, life removes all that is false. It removes dependence on applause, silences the noise of vanity, strips away the illusion that success is born from luck or approval. What remains is truth, pure, indestructible truth, that all power begins within thought. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Every sleepless night, every door that closed, every betrayal was the chisel shaping your character into something precise, something unshakable. The same blows that seemed to shatter you were in fact sculpting you. You ask, why must I endure this? Because only through loss can a man be taught what matters. Only through silence does he learn to hear his own voice. Life is not breaking you down. It is breaking you open so that the power within can find room to expand. I have watched many men rise and fall, and I tell you plainly, the distance between ruin and rebirth is one decision. The decision to believe that what you endure has meaning, that somewhere within this pain lies instruction. The moment you accept that idea, not as poetry, but as law, you will feel the first spark of peace return. The one who rebuilds does not begin with wood or steel. He begins with belief. For faith is the foundation upon which all comebacks are built. The mind that holds faith in the midst of darkness becomes the lamp that guides itself. That lamp is never extinguished. Take this moment and see it differently. You are not at the end. You are at the turning point. Every element of your life that seems against you is now in secret service to your development. The same force that allowed you to fall will raise you higher once you obey its rhythm. When Ford stood in debt, he did not curse his failure. He studied it. He learned why his ideas were unready and improved them. Edison's assistants begged him to quit after years of darkness. He smiled and said, I have not failed. Yet I've found 10,000 ways that will not work. Lincoln despised and doubted, learned patience, until patience became his weapon. These men learned that delay is not denial. It is direction, and so it is with you. Every disappointment is a detour to discipline. Every loss forces the rediscovery of purpose. When you understand this law, fear loses its grip. For what once looked like punishment now appears as preparation. Sit with a pen and paper and write each failure you have faced. Next to it, write what it taught you. Courage, humility, endurance, faith. You will discover that even your pain paid dividends. The act of writing transforms confusion into clarity. You reclaim authorship over your own story. Repeat quietly, I am not falling apart. I am being refined. My struggle is my signal to rise. Say it until you feel it. For words repeated with faith imprint themselves upon the subconscious, and the subconscious obeys without question.
Oh.
You will begin to see your situation differently. The burden that once seemed unbearable will become a teacher. The fear that once paralyzed you will become your fuel. When a man stops asking why me and begins asking what for, the comeback begins. This is the moment that separates the drifter from the thinker, the defeated from the destined. The drifter blames chance. The thinker studies cause. The defeated man curses loss. The destined man learns from it. And every law of success, from desire to faith to persistence, begins here with the realization that you are never a victim of circumstance, but a student of law. If you were broken, it means you were strong enough to be remade. If you were delayed, it means you were being prepared for something requiring more precision. The only true tragedy is to stop before the lesson is learned. Now breathe deeply. Inhale the awareness that everything you have suffered has meaning. Exhale the idea that you were ever abandoned. For infinite intelligence wastes nothing, not even your tears. You are standing at the threshold of transformation. The door before you does not open outward. It opens inward. Your outer life will change only when your inner belief changes. Before a man rebuilds his world, he must first rebuild his mind. A man may lose fortune, home, position, or companions. Yet if his mind remains disciplined, he has lost nothing. Permanent. For thought is the first cause of all creation. It is the architect behind every empire, invention, and miracle ever known to man. When a man learns to govern thought, he regains dominion over all that seemed lost. The true comeback begins not with action, but with the reconstruction of the mind. Everything you see around you was first an idea in someone's mind. The bridge was once a thought. The city was once a dream. Even the greatest fortunes were built first within imagination. Therefore, if your world has collapsed, it can be rebuilt the same way it was first created by deliberate thought. The destruction you see outside yourself is only a reflection of disorder within. Correct the cause and the effects will follow. No man rises higher than his dominant thought. It matters not how strong his body, nor how vast his opportunity. If he carries defeat in his mind, life will obediently produce defeat. But if he plants faith and determination in his mind, circumstance will bend itself to his purpose. The mind is a mirror of your belief, reflecting in matter what you hold in spirit. You must begin this reconstruction as a master builder begins his craft with a clear design, steady patience, and unwavering faith. The first task is purification. You cannot build a new palace upon the ruins of old fear. You must clear the debris of resentment, self-pity, and doubt. These emotions block the natural flow of creation. The subconscious mind cannot build upon confusion. Each morning before you meet the world, pause for 5 minutes of deliberate command. Sit upright and speak with conviction to your inner self. I am the master of my thought. I command my mind to hold only what serves my purpose. I release all fear, for faith alone shall direct me this day. Speak these words not as hope, but as order. You are training the subconscious mind which obeys authority, not pleading. Each night before sleep, reflect with honesty. What did I think today? Did my thoughts align with my purpose? Or did I allow fear to lead? You will find that reflection refines the mind as polishing sharpens steel. Repetition of this practice plants new rhythm in the subconscious. And in time, right thinking becomes as automatic as breathing. Andrew Carnegie built an empire that employed thousands. Yet he often said that his true labor was mental. When markets wavered and men around him panicked, he would sit in stillness, reviewing causes, never reacting to noise. His composure was his fortress. He understood that order in thought creates order in life. When others saw crisis, he saw adjustment. When others saw loss, he saw instruction. And because of this mental stability, fortune flowed toward him as surely as rivers flow toward the sea. You too must build that inner fortress. The world around you may be in motion, but within you must be still. Every day that you replace fear with understanding, you rebuild one stone of your inner structure. The mind once reconstructed in truth becomes unshakable. It no longer bends to circumstance. It bends circumstance itself. Understand the law of autosuggestion, for it is the architect of all reconstruction. The words you repeat daily, the images you hold, the emotions you permit, these are the blueprints of your life. The subconscious mind does not reason, it receives. If you feed it doubt, it will obey by creating delay. If you feed it faith, it will obey by creating opportunity. The subconscious is the silent builder of destiny. Imagine your mind as a workshop. In this workshop, every tool is a thought. Doubt dulls them. Faith sharpens them. Complaint rusts them. Gratitude preserves them. The worker within your subconscious cannot choose the tools. It simply uses what you provide. Therefore, see to it that only right material is supplied. Each morning, picture your life rebuilt. See yourself standing calm, strong, prosperous, at peace. Do not wish for it. See it. Act as though it were already formed in the unseen. The more vivid your image, the faster the subconscious obeys. The universe is responsive to clear command. Say often, I command my thoughts. My faith rebuilds my life. My mind is my kingdom. Say it until it no longer feels like repetition, but revelation. The moment your own words begin to stir, feeling within the reconstruction has begun. Emotion is the energy that gives thought form. Others will begin to perceive the change before you speak of it. They will notice steadiness in your manner, quietness in your eyes, confidence in your tone. They will feel that something invisible has strengthened you. What they are seeing is the alignment of thought and belief. True strength requires no announcement. It radiates naturally. When you have rebuilt your mind, you will no longer depend upon encouragement. You will become your own source of faith. The opinions of others will lose power over you because your approval will come from within. The one who commands his mind commands his destiny. Do not think that you must remove all fear at once. It is enough to replace one weak thought with one strong one each day. As light gradually drives out darkness, faith gradually dissolves fear. The important thing is constancy. The mind learns through repetition. As water shapes rock through persistence, if you falter, begin again. Every return to faith strengthens it. The man who trains his thought daily becomes invincible, for no circumstance can conquer the one who has learned to think correctly. He may lose position, but not purpose. He may lose wealth, but not will. And so long as he thinks in harmony with truth, his recovery is inevitable. There will come a day when you will look back upon this struggle and bless it. For it forced you to discover the workshop within. It compelled you to become your own builder, your own healer, your own teacher. That discovery is worth more than any possession you once lost. Understand clearly. Before a man can rebuild his world, he must first rebuild his mind. The mind is the mold of life. Change the mold, and the form must follow. The outer is the shadow of the inner. The man who thinks with precision cannot live in confusion. Now take your notebook and write upon its first page a single declaration. From this day, I think only thoughts that serve my purpose. I am calm, deliberate, and unafraid. My mind is the source of my comeback. Read it every morning and night until the words become part of you. As you do, ideas will begin to arrive quietly at first, then more frequently. Each idea will be a step in the staircase of your return. Infinite intelligence will use your faith as its signal. The more definite your thought, the clearer the response. You will begin to see order where others see chaos. Opportunities that once seemed hidden will appear as if unveiled. You will meet those who share your vibration of confidence and vision. This is no miracle. It is law. The outer world reflects the inner one. Hold steadfast to this truth. Thought is the first movement of creation. When you think rightly, you align with the very force that governs stars and seasons. That power cannot fail you if you do not fail it. Faith held through uncertainty transforms uncertainty into form. The world may still doubt you. Let it. Their doubt will become your proof. The man who holds his belief against opposition multiplies his power. The mind that refuses to surrender to circumstance draws from an unseen source that never tires. Your reconstruction is underway. You have begun to clear the ruins, to lay the foundation of faith, to design with precision. Continue until your thought becomes your reality. For thought, when persisted in with belief, becomes law made visible. Before a man can rebuild his world, he must rebuild his mind. You are doing that now. And as the mind rises, so too shall everything that depends upon it. Your confidence, your fortune, your peace. You are no longer the same. You are the builder awakening within his own creation. You are the thinker, reclaiming dominion over his world. The walls of limitation are falling, and the pillars of purpose are being raised. Now that your mind is rebuilt, the time has come to awaken the force that carries dreams into reality, your burning desire. There comes a point in every man's reconstruction when faith alone is not enough. Faith gives direction, but desire gives it life. Faith builds the plan, but desire provides the fire that moves the plan into action. Without desire, the finest mind lies dormant. Like an engine without fuel, it is desire, definite burning, and disciplined that transforms knowledge into power, thought into progress, and faith into achievement. Every great comeback begins with this single spark, an idea so alive in the imagination that it refuses to die. A man may be stripped of wealth, comfort, or opportunity, but if he still possesses desire, he is still rich. For nothing can destroy a man whose heart burns with purpose. The force of desire, when guided by faith, becomes the magnet that draws all necessary people, ideas, and events into alignment. When Henry Ford first conceived the idea of building a motor for the common man, he was surrounded by mockery. The world said it cannot be done. He smiled, for his desire had already accomplished it in his mind. When he was forced into bankruptcy, he did not see failure. He saw a foundation. When his first models broke down, he saw improvement. His desire was so definite that doubt could find no place to dwell. Thomas Edison worked through night after night, hands trembling, eyes weary, yet his mind fixed on light. The world slept while he labored, not for fame, but because his desire commanded him. When asked why he continued after thousands of failures, he replied, "I have not failed. I have discovered thousands of ways that will not work." That is burning desire. It does not measure time. It measures progress. Abraham Lincoln, when defeated for public office time and again, held one thought that sustained him, that his purpose was greater than his comfort. Desire kept his faith alive when logic might have quit. It made him humble, but never hopeless. That desire carried him from obscurity to immortality. And so must your desire carry you now, for you cannot rise with half a heart. You must decide what you want so completely that it consumes hesitation. The moment you do, infinite intelligence begins to organize unseen forces on your behalf. Thought mixed with emotion becomes faith, and faith mixed with action becomes power. There is a law in the universe that nothing resists the man who moves with clear purpose and unbroken desire. The timid wish, but the determined command. The timid hope, but the determined expect. Desire is the difference between those who dream and those who build. Now take your pen and write what you will become within the next year. Not what you might become, but what you will. Write it clearly, concisely, and with certainty. Then read it every morning before you begin your work and every night before you sleep. As you do, emotion will awaken faith, and faith will begin to transform your thought into form. Write something like this: "By the end of this year, I will have restored my confidence, regained my strength, and established prosperity through my definite purpose. I will not retreat until it is accomplished. I live each day as if success were already mine." This declaration, repeated with belief, becomes your blueprint. Each repetition strengthens the bond between thought and subconscious action. The world around you will begin to respond as though drawn to an invisible current. The people you need will appear. The doors you require will open, and the energy you lacked will return tenfold. Desire is not mere emotion. It is the concentrated will of the spirit. It is the flame that makes men rise from obscurity to influence, from failure to power. But understand this law. Desire must be definite. A scattered desire produces scattered results. The mind must hold one central image, one clear goal, and feed it with daily attention. Say aloud, "I hold a burning desire that cannot be denied." My faith is the fire that turns thought into form. Speak it until you feel a physical response, until your heart quickens, your breath deepens, your mind clears. That is the energy of life awakening within you. Every time you allow doubt to linger, the flame of desire flickers. Every time you reaffirm your purpose, it brightens. Protect your flame as you would guard a precious lamp in the wind. Avoid those who pour water on your fire through cynicism or complaint. Keep your mind focused upon the end result, not the obstacles between. Desire must be emotionalized daily. This means you must not only think of your purpose, but feel it. Imagine it as already done. See yourself walking in the world you have built. Hear the sounds, feel the atmosphere, experience the gratitude. The subconscious mind accepts what it feels as real. When faith and emotion unite, The universe obeys. You may ask, how long must I hold this desire? Until it holds you. When your purpose becomes so definite that you cannot escape it even in rest, then you are near the threshold of transformation. Every great man has known this possession by purpose. When the dream takes control of the dreamer, that is when genius awakens. Carnegie once told me that his fortune was inevitable at the moment. He stopped thinking of money as his goal and began to think of service as his duty. His desire was not for gold, but for efficiency. Because his desire served the law of progress, it was blessed by abundance. Let your desire to serve something larger than yourself, and the law will reward you beyond measure. If your motive is pure, if your burning desire lifts others as it lifts you, then your comeback will not only be swift, but sustained. For selfish desire fades with satisfaction, but purpose-driven desire renews itself with every achievement. Do not be discouraged by slow results. The universe does not move by haste. It moves by order. Each day that you persist, unseen forces are arranging conditions for your success. The roots grow before the bloom appears. The farmer who plants does not dig the soil each day to check the seed. He waters and waits, knowing the law cannot fail him. You too must plant your desire, water it with faith, and protect it with persistence. You need not see results at once. You need only know they are certain. Faith is the assurance of rhythm, the confidence that what you have sown must by law yield according to its kind. The man of burning desire cannot remain unknown. His energy creates light that others cannot ignore. People are drawn to him. Opportunities appear around him, and the impossible begins to yield. They will say of you, something about him has changed. They will not see the inner fire, but they will feel its warmth. The timid will admire your certainty. The doubtful will borrow your strength. Without saying a word, you will become a source of confidence to others. Your faith will spread silently, and you will find that life itself seems to lean in your direction. This is the hidden reward of burning desire. It magnetizes the world around you. If you have lost your ambition, reignite it now. Sit in silence. Close your eyes and ask yourself, what do I want so deeply that failure can no longer frighten me? Wait for the answer. It will not come as noise, but as knowing. That quiet certainty, that idea that returns again and again, is your destiny calling you to act. Nurture that idea as you would a sacred flame. Each day, feed it with thought, protect it with discipline, and express gratitude for it as though it were already yours. Desire backed by faith never dies. It only waits for command. Repeat this daily. I live with purpose. My desire is definite. My thoughts are clear. I move toward my goal with faith. Let this become the rhythm of your existence. The repetition will engrave certainty into your mind until doubt itself becomes impossible. You may think you are preparing for your comeback, but in truth, it has already begun. The instant your desire became definite, the universe began its motion toward your fulfillment. Every circumstance since that moment is part of the arrangement. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is out of place. Remember always, the world yields not to talent alone, but to persistence guided by burning desire. The one who desires strongly enough will find a way, while those who lack it will find excuses. The difference between failure and success is not opportunity. It is intensity of purpose. Desire is the soul of all progress. It transforms the ordinary man into a leader, the worker into an inventor, the student into a master. When you live by it, you will rise beyond fatigue, discouragement, and rejection because your purpose will outlast them all. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Begin where you stand with what you have, and build as you go. The first step taken in faith ignites all others. The flame of desire does not need ideal surroundings. It creates them. And when you have kindled this fire within, remember this truth. Desire without persistence is a flame without fuel. Now that your mind and your desire are united, the next step is to sustain this fire through discipline and rhythm until nothing can extinguish it. For the world does not reward beginnings, it rewards endurance. And so we move forward into the next great law, the discipline of endurance. There comes a time, even for the man of burning desire, when the flame flickers, when the results do not appear, when fatigue whispers, when faith feels distant and the mind wonders if the law has forgotten him. It is in this silent space between planting and harvest that destiny performs its greatest test. For desire ignites the beginning, but only endurance completes the journey. Discipline is the invisible bridge between intention and reality. It is not a word of restraint, but of liberation. The man who governs his habits governs his future. Every empire ever built, every invention ever born, every triumph ever achieved was the offspring of discipline, held through uncertainty. You must learn to walk steadily when others run frantically. You must continue to sow while others despair that the soil is barren. The law rewards the man who keeps rhythm when the world around him breaks tempo. For persistence is faith in motion. It is obedience to purpose when emotion has gone silent. Edison understood this law. There were nights when he failed 100 times before sunrise. Yet he continued not through excitement, but through rhythm. His endurance was not dramatic. It was patient. He knew that nature never violates law and that every experiment, however fruitless, carried him closer to discovery. His was the peace of the disciplined mind, the quiet certainty that repetition is the secret of mastery. When Abraham Lincoln faced ridicule, defeat, and the death of those he loved, he did not withdraw from life. He worked quietly, shaping himself through the very hardships that others pitied. His greatness was not born of speeches, but of self-control. When anger came, he wrote letters he never sent. When despair came, he read them and learned. Discipline made him steady enough to lead a nation torn by its own chaos. Andrew Carnegie spent 10 years organizing steel production before the first great fortune appeared. He called patience the test of faith. He once said that a man who cannot work without applause will never build anything worth applauding. He meant that endurance must become its own reward. The man who can keep to his rhythm without needing praise is the man the world eventually follows. And now, I say this to you, endurance is not stubbornness. It is faith under pressure. It is order obeyed without wavering. It is the rhythm of purpose maintained through seasons of doubt. You will know you have found discipline when you act not by mood, but by decision, not by convenience, but by law. When fatigue sets in, the undisciplined man seeks escape. The disciplined man seeks structure. Fatigue is not a sign to quit. It is a call to organize energy. The body tires when thought is scattered, but the man who directs every motion toward his purpose finds strength even in exhaustion. Discipline aligns energy with aim. Each day's small obedience adds invisible weight to your strength. The one who reads 10 pages, thinks 10 minutes, plans 1 hour, and finishes what he begins. These small acts accumulate like bricks in the temple of success. No single act may seem great, yet together they form an unbreakable habit. Habit is destiny solidified. When doubt speaks, let decision answer. When fear rises, let routine command. For the one who has a definite schedule is never lost. A disciplined hour is stronger than an undisciplined week. Choose 1 hour each day that belongs to your comeback. Guard it as a sacred appointment with destiny. During that hour, shut out distraction. Write your goals. Plan your day. Study your principles. Speak your affirmations aloud as a soldier recites his oath. Let this be your hour of discipline. Even if you achieve nothing else, this one habit will carry you through storms. The man who owns one consistent hour eventually owns his life. Say to yourself, I will persist until I prevail. I will obey my purpose until life obeys me. Say it when you feel strong. Say it when you feel weak. Words repeated in weakness grow roots that hold you when strength returns. Discipline is not about what you do when inspired. It is what you continue when inspiration sleeps. When delay stretches long, remind yourself that the seed does not complain in the soil. It trusts the process of unseen growth. You are that seed. Every day you persist, roots are forming. They grow quietly, invisibly, until one day they burst forth with unstoppable force. The impatient dig up their seed and wonder why it does not bloom. The disciplined water and wait. I have seen men lose everything but their persistence, and from that persistence, rebuild fortunes greater than before. I have seen others lose nothing but patience, and from that loss, never recover. The difference between despair and triumph is simply who stays long enough for the law to work. The rhythm of discipline transforms the man himself. His walk steadies, his tone deepens, his eyes grow calm. Others sense reliability and are drawn to it. They trust the man who finishes what he begins. For he proves mastery not in speech but in steadiness. Discipline is silent authority. It speaks without words. You will begin to notice that the world adjusts to your rhythm. Where once you were tossed by circumstance, now you move as the tide moves. Predictable, powerful, relentless. The disciplined man becomes the center of order in any environment. Chaos exists around him, but never within him. When adversity returns, and it will meet it as an old friend, thank it for testing your endurance. Tell it that you have learned its lessons. No longer will hardship surprise you. It will merely remind you to tighten your rhythm. The storm cannot unseat the one who has learned to move with it. Let no one persuade you that persistence is outdated. The tools may change, the world may move faster, but the law remains. Success still belongs to those who finish. The one who persists quietly will outlast the one who rushes loudly. The mountain yields not to noise, but to continuous effort. Discipline is devotion. It is faith made visible through habit. It is prayer expressed through repetition. Each morning you rise at the same hour, read the same principles, speak the same affirmations, and perform the same tasks, not because they are new, but because they are true. That is how the subconscious learns obedience. That is how success becomes certainty. Do not seek motivation. Seek rhythm. Motivation fades when the day grows hard, but rhythm continues regardless of weather. When a man lives by rhythm, his progress becomes inevitable. Each repetition becomes momentum, and momentum becomes mastery. The universe itself is rhythmic. The planets move in order. The seasons arrive in sequence. Even your breath follows rhythm. Inhalation, exhalation, pause, renewal. To live in discipline is to live in harmony with the same law that governs all creation. That harmony is power. When you master this rhythm, fatigue becomes familiar but harmless. You will learn to rest without quitting, to pause without stopping. You will work when others complain, think when others despair, act when others delay. Each act of endurance brings you closer to peace. Because peace is not the absence of action, but the mastery of it. Persistence also refines the spirit. It purifies motive. In the beginning, you may act for reward, but through discipline, you learn to act for principle. When you no longer require applause, your power multiplies tenfold. The one who endures without needing recognition becomes unstoppable. For he draws strength not from circumstance, but from within. Carnegie once said, "I would rather have the habit of persistence than a fortune. For a fortune without persistence soon disappears." He knew that the disciplined man will always rebuild. Fortune may fluctuate, but habit remains, and habit recreates fortune. You will find as discipline becomes natural that fear disappears. Fear thrives in uncertainty, but the man of rhythm fears nothing because he controls the hours that others waste. He knows that each task completed, each decision made, is another step toward dominion. Discipline gives the mind no room for fear. If the path feels long, remember this. A year of persistence can accomplish what 10 years of indecision cannot. Most men spend decades circling opportunity because they never finish what they start. But the one who persists saves time, saves energy, saves life itself. In your quiet hour, when no one sees you, when no applause is offered, remind yourself, this is where greatness is forged. Public victory is born in private discipline. The world celebrates the result, but seldom sees the repetition. You will therefore learn to celebrate repetition itself. Say quietly, I honor the small act done well. I value the unseen effort. I persist because I have decided to win. Let that become your meditation when weariness appears. When the mind rebels, Remind it gently who is master. You may whisper aloud, "You are my servant, not my ruler." The body will soon follow. The senses will obey. For man was never meant to be driven by appetite or emotion, but by decision. Discipline restores rightful order to the kingdom within. And when others doubt you, remain silent. Discipline does not argue. It proves. The day will come when those who questioned your endurance will ask for your guidance. For the man who finishes his course becomes the teacher of all who falter. Let endurance become your signature. Let steadiness become your character. When adversity strikes again, as it surely will, meet it with the quiet smile of one who has seen this battle before and knows its outcome. For discipline guarantees victory in team. Each act of endurance refines not only achievement, but identity. You will look in the mirror one morning and realize that you no longer recognize the man you once were. Where there was hesitation, there is decisiveness. Where there was doubt, there is calm. Where there was fatigue, there is quiet strength. Others will see it too. They will feel safety in your presence, confidence in your word. You will become the man whose composure steadies a room, whose patience commands respect, whose reliability inspires trust. This is the unspoken power of discipline. It makes a man magnetic. As you persist, you will come to understand that discipline is not merely for survival. It is for peace. To be disciplined is to be free from inner conflict. The undisciplined man is torn between impulse and intention. The disciplined man is whole. His thought, word, and action move as one. Continue until persistence becomes your second nature. Continue until obedience to purpose becomes as effortless as breathing. Continue until your routine becomes ritual and your effort becomes ease. That is mastery. And now, as your endurance matures into certainty, a new realization will dawn that your inner order has begun to command your outer world. Circumstance no longer dictates your condition. You dictate to circumstance. The next stage of your journey awaits. For once a man has mastered himself, he becomes the master of his environment. You have proven strength. You have learned rhythm. You have built faith into habit and habit into character. You are ready for dominion not over others but over the forces that once controlled you. And so we move forward to the next great revelation, the mastery of circumstance. For the man who has conquered himself can now command his world. There comes a moment when the inner battle has been won. When the storm within has been silenced and the man stands upright, no longer fighting himself, but directing the world around him through calm authority. This is the point of dominion. The victory of the mind over itself is only the beginning. From it arises the power to master circumstance, to bend external conditions to the rhythm of one's organized will. Circumstance is not a jailer, but a mirror. It does not imprison you. It reflects your inner order or confusion. When a man is ruled by fear, his environment